All played out at a public meeting last night.
Y'all forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet. The mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. Y'all don't do no work.
Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dalton, is at the center of a major controversy following allegations that she misappropriated $10 million in taxpayer funds. These accusations have shaken the small village of Dalton, Illinois, sparking outrage among community members and trustees. During a recent board meeting, tensions reached a peak when a trustee publicly revealed Henyard's alleged financial misconduct. Henyard's response was swift and heated. She vehemently denied the allegations and accused her critics of trying to sabotage her leadership.
WGN Investigates has learned South suburban politician Tiffany Henyard has lost another key ally. Until recently, Henyard enjoyed near unanimous support on the Thornton Township Board, but now trustee Carmen Carlisle says after trusting Henyard and remaining silent, she will be a whistleblower against Henyard. Carlisle released a statement to WGN that reads in part, "For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dalton. Henyard shows no accountability or conscience for her actions against employees or taxpayers." Henyard has denied wrongdoing and claims her opponents are out for what she calls clickbait. Tomorrow at 9, tune in for exclusive new reporting on Henyard's spending.
In the face of mounting criticism, Tiffany Henyard has displayed little remorse. Instead, she continues to portray herself as a visionary leader, frequently declaring, "I'm the dream." What was meant to highlight her ambition and resilience has instead become a symbol of her arrogance and detachment from reality.
Saying why we can't help each other, why we can't put our heads together and help one another, why we can't band together at this time, at this moment. This is going to be Black History Month, right? Y'all all say Martin Luther King had a dream, but guess what? I am the dream. So now I need you guys to stand with me and help me.
At a heated Thornton Township meeting, Henyard faced direct confrontation from trustees over her controversial actions and alleged mismanagement of funds. Rather than addressing the concerns raised, Henyard responded with anger, demanding, "What's the problem?" Her dismissive attitude and refusal to engage in meaningful dialogue only deepened the rift with the trustees and underscored her reluctance to be held accountable.
Proving township events.
What is the problem? You got to tell me what the issues are. You have to. What's the issues? Why to know? Because we did what y'all said y'all want us to do, which is put a budget together and present it to the board before any events came across the board. We did that. So what is the problem now? And we got the money. So what's the
During
problem?
the open forum, the board faced criticism from residents.
If you're about transparency, what are you hiding with that? If you have a department and some money's been spent for that department, who's heading it? Transparency for one item and not for another is not transparency. That's just the...
Henyard's defiance of the trustees has become a defining feature of her administration. Time and again, she has taken unilateral actions without consulting or obtaining approval from the board, frequently acting contrary to their expressed wishes. Additionally, Henyard has gained notoriety for posting videos on social media where she boasts about her achievements and dismisses her critics.
Tiffany Henyard said, "No, we're building it." And she then put out a video where she bragged about building it despite being told, "No, don't build it."
Hey y'all! It's your mayor, Tiffany A. Henyard, the people's mayor. We here in the village of Dalton and we about to get our skate on. Remember, when all 5 of them trustees said no, look what God did.
Things are looking a little murky for the future of Tiffany as the town has been ordered to release spending records after mayor and her allies accused of lavish purchases. As you can see, the town's already $7 million in debt. She actually started her mayorship at $3.5 million in debt, and she has put it all the way up to 7. Those are some good numbers, Tiffany. At this Valentine's Day party on the skating rink, Tiffany had multiple security guards around her at all times as if she was the president. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3. Tiffany has also fallen under criticism for shutting down local businesses that don't contribute to her campaign. And as you can see here, she is dressed as the gangster Nino Brown from the movie New Jack City. was against her in the movie. The New York Post actually picked up all of this absolutely insane behavior that she has really started to really kick up this year and put in their newspaper, Chicago Burbs is a dictator.
Under Henyard's leadership, Dalton's financial situation has rapidly deteriorated over just 5 months, with the village now facing a staggering $7 million in debt. This unprecedented financial collapse is particularly troubling for a small community like Dalton, where resources are already scarce and many residents live below the poverty line. Trustees have repeatedly scrutinized Henyard's spending decisions, arguing that they have prioritized her personal interests over the village's well-being.
They're also requesting an investigation by the FBI, and some of these allegations, or accusations I should say, are so serious that even some local businesses are saying that their licenses and things that they need are not getting renewed after they made decisions to cut off ongoing financial donations to her campaign. So it's a pretty big deal, and this is one of the things that she was questioned on. She has this foundation, a cancer research foundation, that people are also wanting an investigation into, as she has not disclosed how she has used taxpayer money in that foundation. And the thing is, it's not just about misusing taxpayer funds. That's bad enough on the surface, but again, this is a small town of 20,000 people. All of these accusations that she's racking up are causing this town to go into unmanageable debt, and the people are crying out for help. Here are a few of these people. In fact, I believe they're looking at right now a $2 million deficit, which in a big city or a big town might not be that big of a deal, but when you are the village of Dalton in the middle of Illinois, it's a much bigger deal.
In response to criticism over her extensive use of taxpayer-funded security, Henyard has consistently defended her actions, claiming that the security measures were necessary due to threats against her.
Your critics say that you have a significant security detail. First of all, how large is your police department in Dalton, and what is your security detail?
So we have about 45 officers in our village. My security is warranted due to the fact of threats and things of that nature, but what people are not stating is it's in our CBA. That's our collective bargaining agreement. That's our union contract. So it comes with the seat. That's what people are not saying. I didn't make this up. I didn't just create this and say, I want security.
However, many see this as another misuse of public funds, as Henyard's security detail significantly exceeds what is typical for a mayor of a small village.
Handpicked candidates for the Dalton Board of Trustees and allegedly claimed that they had endorsements from the Thornton Township Democratic Party. The party denies granting these endorsements. This makes it seem like Tiffany was trying to stack the board with people who would do her bidding. The former police chief of Dalton, Robert Collins, filed a lawsuit against the village claiming that Tiffany illegally fired him. Tiffany allegedly thought that Robert's wife was too friendly with people Tiffany considered to be political opponents. Robert argued that he was discriminated against based on marital status, and that Tiffany failed to secure the approval of the village board of trustees before firing him.
Dalton residents struggle to reconcile Henyard's self-promotion with the corruption allegations that have plagued her administration. Critics argue that Henyard's grandiose self-image only highlights her disconnect from the struggles of the community she purports to serve.
In December of 2023, Tiffany was sued by several members of the Board of Trustees. They accused her of using checks without authorization, refusing to issue payments for invoices approved by the board, and restricting the access of certain financial information from the trustees. Some people believe that Tiffany is concealing evidence of alleged wrongdoing. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. Tiffany Henyard appears to be a big fan of herself. She has her own website where she refers to herself as the People's Super Mayor. She has also used this title in social media posts. On her website, Tiffany wrote about how, after she was elected as the mayor of Dalton, there was much fanfare during the swearing-in ceremony. Tiffany mentioned how she was the first black supervisor of Thornton Township. She wrote how this move sent shockwaves across the state of Illinois. Item number 2, Tiffany is active on social media and has made several posts which can be described as grandiose, attention-seeking, tacky, creepy, and demonstrating a profound lack of insight. For example, she indicated that God chose her and she referred to herself as God's favorite. On Instagram, she declared that she was the most powerful woman in the Southland of Chicago.
Evidence of Henyard's excessive personal spending has further fueled the controversy. Investigators have uncovered receipts revealing that she spent $40,000 on Amazon in a single day using taxpayer funds.
That same month, she said, quote, "You all say Martin Luther King had a dream. Guess what? I am the dream. So now I need you guys to stand with me and help me. That's what I need." Unquote. Item number 3. Most mayors would be discouraged by a recall election that occurred right after they ascended to the throne, but Tiffany only became more confident by this attempt to remove her from office. During the next board meeting after the failed recall, Tiffany played the disco song "Ain't No Stopping Us Now" and danced at the podium. On social media, she released an image of herself with the caption, "Recall null and void. I am, and forever will be, Dalton's mayor."
During a recent public meeting, Henyard invoked racial themes, lamenting that her fellow Black trustees were criticizing her despite their shared heritage. She expressed her disappointment by stating, "I am ashamed that you all are Black but still attacking a Black woman."
False narratives out there, and y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all Black. Y'all are Black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a Black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. All the stuff that y'all did to get people to come to our community, to just diss and down our community. Shame on y'all. Because when I want to attack and take any of y'all seats, I run. I run for the seat. I don't do smear campaigns. I don't do all this mess. It's nonsense. Because at the end of the day, we still got to live in this village. Oh, well, y'all don't live in the village, but we still got to live in the...
Despite the ongoing turmoil, residents still have to live in the village. Henyard's administration has been labeled as one of the most corrupt in Dalton's history. Her record is marked by financial mismanagement and ethical breaches, with allegations ranging from inappropriate use of funds to outright theft. This troubled track record has led many to question how someone with such a history of scandal could continue to hold office.
Welcome. This is going to be an interesting ride. Meet Tiffany Henyard. She is the mayor of a very small village located in Illinois called Dalton. This village has a population of only 20,000 people. Now keep that in mind when I go through some of the allegations against this mayor. So not only does she serve as the mayor of this village, she's also Thornton Township supervisor. Now, she is being accused of historic misuse of taxpayer funds to the sum of, first of all, using the local police as her own personal security detail, costing up to $1 million. She's also being accused of misusing taxpayer money to pay for lavish trips for herself and collecting a combined salary with the supervisor position and her mayor position of $287,000. This is a small town in Illinois, 20,000 people. The highest salary in our U.S. government is $400,000, and she's making just under $300,000. Now, before we go even further, just so you have a bit of an idea of some of the antics that Tiffany will pull off, this is her at a local public meeting dressed up as an infamous criminal kingpin named Nino Brown.
Community members have voiced their frustration, demanding Henyard's resignation and a thorough investigation into her conduct. As more details come to light, the calls for accountability continue to intensify.
Tiffany Henyard is the most controversial mayor in all of America. So this mayor named Tiffany Henyard is the mayor of a place called Dalton, Illinois. And essentially every single resident in Dalton wants Tiffany out of office. This is mainly because Tiffany's very controversial use of taxpayer money. For starters, Tiffany has a full security detail that goes everywhere with her in the town. This security detail is estimated to be about $250K a year. In addition to security, Tiffany also uses taxpayer funds to do things like buying billboards with her face and name on it. She also puts her name all over government vehicles and buildings throughout the town. And she even has her own 2024 calendar. And of course, she put her own birthday in the calendar. Now, in addition to all of this, Tiffany has also made it extremely hard for anyone to run against her. Currently, she makes around $225K a year. However, if someone were to run against her and win, they would not be getting anywhere close to what Tiffany's making. This is because Tiffany is proposing a 90% cut in her salary, but only if someone who is not her is elected. This would drop the pay from $225K to just $25K. Yet even with that massive pay cut, people still want to run against Tiffany just so they can get her out.
Henyard has consistently sidelined the trustees, making unilateral decisions without seeking their input or approval. This behavior has eroded trust and led to accusations that Henyard is running Dalton as if it were her personal fiefdom. The trustees have voiced their frustration, highlighting that her actions undermine the democratic process and jeopardize the village's future.
Just 4 days ago, she fired the chief of police because he was investigating all of those credit card receipts and all those claims of her funneling taxpayer dollars into her privately owned cancer awareness charity, which you cannot do. And in one of those investigations that the chief of police was investigating, it stated here in this tweet, and shout out to this person for tweeting this, they said Mayor Tiffany Henyard is one of the most corrupt ever. She actually hired a child offender. She overpays her police officers to be her security, which what do you need that much security for? You're a mayor of a town with about 20,000 people. One of the officers was paid $13,000 in 2 weeks for 300 hours of overtime. Because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that anybody worked 300 hours of overtime. So this has to be investigated because it looks like these numbers were being padded. So the chief of police, or the ex-chief of police, had his attorney investigate these claims. There were allegations of corruption, and he was investigating them. Now I'm going to do a little bit more digging because I think there's a lot more to know about this Tiffany Henyard story because anybody who shows up to a city town hall meeting dressed like Nino Brown is definitely doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
One of the most troubling allegations against Henyard involves her handling of a sexual assault case involving a village employee. Trustees claim that Henyard deliberately concealed details of the incident to shield her administration from scandal.
This young lady said she went to the mayor to try and, explain what happened. The mayor said, I'll take care of this. Don't worry. And then she gets put on FMLA and loses her job. Could something have been done differently by the mayor, who she looked up to, this young lady?
Absolutely. She herself should have launched an investigation. This happened on your watch. You should have taken action immediately. Absolutely. Do you not feel anything? Absolutely. To do that, you have a daughter. You have an obligation to this village. You are the leader. To let something like that go by and not get involved. You are just as much, oh my God. Everybody should be prosecuted to the full extent. Everyone involved, you as well should take part of this blame here. You should take fault. Something should happen to you as well. If you know something, say something. This trustee always speaks. If you know something, say something. Well, you've done something and you said nothing.
Girl, from trips and trucks to covering up shit. Tiffany, what do you got going on, Tahoe Tiffany? What is it? What is going to be next?
Henyard's actions have been compared to some of the most notorious corrupt politicians in Chicago's history, a city infamous for its political scandals. However, many argue that her alleged misdeeds surpass even those of the most infamous Chicago figures. Her purported misuse of funds, abuse of power, and blatant disregard for ethical standards have set a new low for public office holders.
Real-life Parks and Rec situation going on in a small village outside of Chicago thanks to this mayor, Tiffany Henyard. And with George Santos leaving the house, this is the new funniest, most corrupt politician in the United States of America. I learned about Tiffany today when I read an article about the ordinance she's putting in that states if she loses her re-election to be mayor, the mayor's salary will be decreased from $225,000 to $25,000. But if she wins, it will stay the same. When I read that, I realized I had to learn everything about this woman. And as it turns out, the 90% pay cut doesn't even crack the top 10 of the most corrupt things that this woman has done in a short year that she's been the mayor of Dalton, Illinois. If you're on a highway near Dalton, Illinois, you will see billboards of Tiffany Henyard. These are all billboards that are paid for by taxpayers, and they advertise things such as senior services and free fresh produce. But Tiffany always puts her face and name in huge letters opposed to the actual thing it's advertising in order to get her name out there. And as I said, this is all paid for by taxpayers. Tiffany recently went to Las Vegas with a few of her friends to attend a conference. While there, she spent all of this money on airfare, hotels, and then money at restaurants like Ruth Chris's. And this was all paid for by the taxpayers because she was there attending a conference. She also spent a fair amount of money at Bubba Gump's shrimp company, and then she brought the hat that she bought there to her town council when she was being questioned about the money she spent in Las Vegas. Afterwards, Tiffany was asked by the local news station about her time in Las Vegas. I just want to remind you before you watch this clip, this is not a show. This is real.
As evidence against her continues to accumulate, Henyard's legal troubles appear increasingly imminent. Trustees, community leaders, and legal experts are all calling for a comprehensive investigation into her conduct, with potential criminal charges looming. Henyard's once prominent political career now faces the risk of unraveling entirely as the weight of the allegations threatens to bring down her administration.
As were mounting and as questions were not being answered, the town voted on a unanimous resolution to probe and look at some of those financial details. And Tiffany herself, who, by the way, calls herself the super mayor, vetoed that resolution. She dressed up from that clip I showed you earlier of Nino Brown. So she did this at a board meeting. Not only that, now I'm assuming that taxpayer funds were used to pay for all of this. So she dressed up as him. Her ensemble included a stuffed toy dog at her side, just as Brown had a real one in the movie. Also, she brought in a DJ. During the meeting, Henyard had the DJ punctuate her political points with musical cues, including Rihanna's hit single "Be Better Have My Money," where she demanded trustees approve a bill for a village ice rink. That is one of two ice rink trustees say they never authorized spending money on.
What do you think about these allegations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates next time.
This young lady said she went to the mayor to try and, explain what happened. The mayor said, I'll take care of this. Don't worry. And then she gets put on FMLA and loses her job. Could something have been done differently by the mayor, who she looked up to, this young lady?
Absolutely. She herself should have launched an investigation. An investigation. This happened on your watch. You should have taken action immediately. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you not feel anything? Absolutely. To do that, you have a daughter. You have an obligation to this village. You are the leader. You are the leader. To let something like that go by and not get involved. You are just as much, oh my God. Everybody should be prosecuted to the full extent. Everyone involved, you as well should take part of this blame here. You should take fault. Something should happen to you as well. If you know something, say something. This trustee always speaks. If you know something, say something. Well, you've done something and you said nothing.
Girl, from trips and trucks to covering up shit. Tiffany, what do you got going on, Tahoe Tiffany? What is it? What is going to be next?
What do you think about these allegations? Share your thoughts in the comments below. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates next time.